Good morning, everyone. Boom, 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 boom. It's Nukem in the room. I am here, and you are here because we are crazy about gaming. Welcome to episode 3 this morning. I'm hoping it's going to be a big one, but so far my guest seems to be AWOL. He's either running late, and I don't know what's happening, but hopefully he can make it today because, as you know, he obviously I think he's coming. Okay, he's coming. He's coming. It's good. I just got a message from him. He will be here in just a minute. So obviously, he's in Germany, and so there's obviously a bit of a time difference there, but he is coming. So that's good. So as we wait for our big guest today, which is Jez Corden from Windows Central and one half of the Xbox 2 podcast with Randall Floor. So he will be here in just a moment. Shout out to the chat, guys. You were amazing. We got some of our regulars in here this morning, including the one, the only Talos Ray and Dizzy Delta. Talos, great gaming with you again last night. The Division 2, we had an absolute blast. It was a good time, and looking forward to getting back to it today. And don't forget, just a quick reminder that the Community Game Day goes ahead a little bit later today. It starts at 6 p.m. Eastern, which is 4 Mountain Time. We're going to be starting off with Mario Party Jamboree to kick things off. I'm not expecting a big crowd, but hopefully we'll get to be enough to play a full game. And when that kind of wraps up at about 8 Eastern, we are going to be playing Gears 5. That's right, Gears 5. It's been a long time since we played some Gears. Hopefully we'll get a good crowd to come out and have a good time with some private matches right there. RPG 88, what's going on, guys? I am entering you all right now, so bear with me as I add the names to this list, the Wheel of Winning here, as we are going to do a draw in the next couple of weeks. That will be for the RG36 portable game console, which I'm going to hold up here on the screen in just a second. All right. So if you haven't seen what's up for grabs, this will be happening on episode 5. It is this little bad boy right here. It just basically looks a lot like a Game Boy, but it does have the analog sticks, a few extra buttons, triggers in the back. It has over 20,000 games on here, including most of your old school classics. If you are a big fan of things like the Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo, the Ataris, all that stuff, that's all there. There is even some newer stuff as well. Like there's a vast variety of N64 games, or some Dreamcast stuff there, some PlayStation, the list goes on. But some of the emulation is not the best, so just bear in mind with that, okay? We have our first super chat coming in this morning. Let's get that one out of the way. It comes in from our good friend D487, who pops up. He says, "Good morning, Noob and chat. Let's go. Let's go indeed." That's right. So to win that, you just had to be in the chat. If you're in the chat, I'm entering your name. Some of you guys have already, this will be your third entry already. Next week will be the final week to enter, as we will have, that gives you 4 chances in total if you've been live in the chat. Some of you already have 3 chances in the bag already. And yes, I will ship it to wherever you are. That's the cool thing. No worries, but that's cool. A little cool little device. If you don't like it, you can always give it to a friend or your family or whatever it might be the case. So, but Jess, what have we been playing? What has the chat been playing? What games have been keeping you busy? I've been all over the board lately. It's so hard, to focus in on one kind of game. I've been playing RoboCop Rogue City for the second playthrough because I beat it on the Xbox. Now I'm playing it over on the PlayStation. So I'm still going through that. Like I said, I've been playing some of the Division 2. I never really did get very far in the Division 2, and me and Talos have been kind of picking that up and moving right along. I think I'm only like level 14 or something, so not very high. Lots of game there to kind of complete, kind of basically. Dizzy Delta says you've been playing The Legend of Dragoon. That's pretty cool. We got Nelson Gaiman joining us this morning. What's going on, Nelson? Good to see you. Like I said, D487 is in the chat as well, and a shout out to my friends over at Good Morning Xbox. They're Axel and Terry and Fastback and all the crew over there, Eternal Shaddai. Got a great little podcast that kind of kicks off before I get going in the morning. So just shout out to them. And in the meantime, I was just there hanging out in their chat for a little while. D says, old game Evil West. Having fun and filled with Borderlands 4. You know what, D? Borderlands 4 has been on my list, but I haven't been able to get to it. Like, My thought on that was like I have Borderlands 3 and I haven't even beaten that one. So I'm like, do I want to start another Borderlands and then it becomes another backlog chore? So Borderlands 4 is on my to get list, but I might wait a little bit longer. So yeah, Talos, I hope that you're able to make Gears 5 later on today. I know it's kind of late in your neck of the woods as we go live at like we go live at pretty much 6 o'clock my time, which, if I'm correct, is about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I think we're at. So it'll be an early one for you. All right. Yeah. So, like I said, I've been all over the board and playing some Switch games, and there's lots of good games to play right now. And there's a ton of stuff coming out. Now, just a refresher, State of Play was just a couple of days ago from PlayStation. And look, I'm seeing mixed reactions from the community, and it's okay. It's okay to feel about it however you feel about it. I don't know how you guys feel about it in the chat, but I can tell you, I personally thought that State of Decay was one of the best State of Decays I've ever. State of Decay. Oh my God, I need to wake up here. The coffee's not kicking in. It was one of the best State of Play that I have seen in a long time out of Sony. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? Because like 2 or 3 days before that, they announced that Horizon Hunter's Gathering game. And then all of a sudden, they bring this one out. And it's just jam-packed full of great games. Obviously, a shadow drop for that God of War, Sons of Sparta. To be honest with you, I hope it does really well, but I had very zero interest in it. I kind of got to agree with David Jaffe on that one. Like David Jaffe, I mean, the creator of God of War, feels like that game was a little bit insulting to the franchise. Like nobody was really asking for it, kind of thing. I don't know how many people really want to play as Kratos long before he actually becomes the Kratos we know and love. I mean, it's got an interesting art style and stuff like that, but yeah, it wasn't floating my boat, man. Now the God of War trilogy remake, now that has my attention, and the only thing I fear at this point is I hope they leave it undoctored. I'm okay if they want to start the game and they want to do the whole press, do you accept nudity and, blood, violence, all that sort of stuff at the start of the game. But I hope they don't change it just for the, modern audience, as we hear so often, because I think that's a disservice to, really what makes that game special. No, I'm sure it's not just the old, the pervy talking here, but, I don't like it when they mess with old content. That's how it was meant. That's how it was shown. And people will say, well, I guess you can go back and play the old ones. So that's not the point, though, right? We got our good friend of the show is in the chat right now, the Game Complainers. And I'll tell you right now, speaking of the Game Complainers, he's going to be our special guest on this podcast next week. Oh, let me just 1 second, guys. No, Jez is not in the back. He is coming. He is coming. So he will be here momentarily, guys. So like I said, he just got the time zones are throwing him off, but hopefully be here. Maddie Burns is in the house. Good morning, new for chat. Thank you, Maddie. The Whoopi scene. How did they said that? I didn't see anything official that they were going to undoctor the game. A lot of fans are speculating that they might. Is that enough to keep you from buying the game or not buying the game? I mean, it would suck. But I definitely could see it in some censored nature. I don't know. But anyway, lots of great games in the State of Play. I think one of the biggest surprises, which we kind of heard about but didn't really know about, was John Wick coming from Saber Interactive. I'm super excited about that. My God, it looks amazing. The fact that Keanu is also, lending his image and voice talents to that is absolutely awesome. Venom Dave is in the house right now. Let me catch up with guys before I start missing people on this draw here. So, because we got like 10 people amazing in here already. Venom Dave is here. We got D. All right, 487. Yes, as I'm saying your name, I'm typing you guys in the chat to make sure that you're all entered for that draw. All right. We got the Game Complainers, aka Perry. Perry, hope it'd be nice to get your wife back today. And sorry that you're going to miss Community Game Day, but I'm sure you'll be making it on the next one, most likely. Nelson Gaming is here as well. What's going on, Nelson? Yes, our first ever guest on this show was Will. Shout out to Will. 777 was on this podcast just a week or so ago. That was a good time. Sony Mike C Block Kratos. Good morning, Chris Simmons. What's going on, Hollywood? Giving the show a chance. The State of Play was trash. Well, man, if you thought it was trash, that is your opinion. I thought it was quite good, to be quite honest with you. And you know what? A lot of those games are coming out on Xbox. So to me, it was almost like a state of play and an Xbox show all rolled into one, man. So I'm pretty excited about that. Where I choose to buy my games, I don't know. I'm really torn right now. It's like, do I get them on, do I go and buy them on the Xbox? Do I get them on the Switch? Do I get them on the PlayStation 5? All that sort of stuff. But anyway, it's good to see an old favorite back in the house here. Craig Simmons, what's going on, brother? You should boot up that Gears of War tonight and come roll with us. Let's keep moving right along here, guys. All right, so while we're waiting for Jez to show up here, let's go over some of the new and upcoming games. It's been a little bit of a slow start, I guess, to the year in terms of big releases, but we got some stuff coming down the pipe here, and I'm going to share that with you right now. So we've got a bunch of games coming out. All right, and I'm using the website called releases.com. They show us a look at the upcoming calendar of games that are coming out on console, PC, phones, that sort of stuff. It looks like starting on the 17th, we've got Norse Oath of Blood comes out on the PC. Avowed finally shows up for the PlayStation 5. If you've never played Avowed, it's a fantastic game from Obsidian. I really enjoyed that. Would like to get back to it. With a lot of fun. Under the Island comes out on Xbox Series X, PlayStation, and Switch. We got the Forgotlings. Not sure what that's about, but Battlefield Season 2, I guess, officially kicks off tomorrow. We got Calamity Angel Special Delivery Drop Shot. That is coming out here. What else we got going on here? We got Placid Plastic Deck, Vampire Therapist, Subnautica, F-22 Air Dominance Fighter, Hold the Mine, Subnautica Below Zero. Then on the 18th, we got Star Trek Voyager and lots of Star Trek fans. So this one hits on the Switch 2, Series X, and PlayStation 5. The Monster Hunter Wilds. It looks like another expansion for that is coming out on the 17th. Poppy 5 Playtime, Chapter 5 on the PC. Weenie Wise on the PC. Warframe is coming out for Android. That's been a long time in making. We got Menherarium coming out on the PC. Lots of PC stuff here. Insider Trading, Strange Brews, Starless Abyss, Styx, Blades of Greed, PlayStation 5 X with Series X. I don't know if you any Styx fans in the house, but looks pretty interesting at least. I have those games on my hard drive on my Xbox. I've never booted them up yet. Wisman's World Retry, PlayStation 5, Switch, Deathmatch, Love Comedy, Death Howl. We've got Demonics, Demon Tides, Love Eternal, Dead in Antares, Neva Prologue, Paranormal Sight, Gear Club Unlimited 3, Showgunners. We got Collecta, Baking Bad. Well, there's a funny title for you. Soul Slinger, Envoy of Death, Level X, Park Ranger Simulator. We got Manaron, Super Battle Golf, Outpath, Wayblazer, Demeron. We got Yeez. Is it Yeez? You pronounce it Yeez? Yeez X, Proud Nordics, Baladins, Bendy the Ink Machine is finally coming out on the Switch, and a physical edition, Prize Fighter, for the PlayStation 4, PC, PlayStation 5, and Arethea. All right, and then I think that's kind of it. That will round out the end of the week, I do believe, before the next one. Lots of people playing Reanimal. Who has played Reanimal? Who has that right now? That game looks absolutely phenomenal. I got to catch Perry play a little bit of it the other night. It looked fantastic, by the way. We got Wicked Hot is in the building. What's going on, brother? Hot Stevie Mac is here. Some of the awesome dudes are rolling in right now, guys. Great chat here already this morning. Let me just check in the backyard here. Maybe Jez is grabbing a quick shower or bite to eat, but he should be along here momentarily. Yeah, that Reanimal game looks absolutely fantastic. Comes from Tarsier, French studio, the guys behind Little Nightmares 1, 2, and 3. And it is co-op, which is kind of cool. I might give the demo a shot. I don't know if I'm going to get to pick it up right away. Finance is a little bit tight after this last paycheck, and I've had a crap ton of games over the last few months, and the backlog is growing. So I got to get to it, man. I gotta get going. Got to get those games rolling out, guys. Yeah. So what's everybody playing, man? What's keeping you busy? So that's kind of it for the games releases right now. How about that James Bond game that was showed off again? This latest trailer for the new 007 definitely got me more interested than the past ones. And if I had one small gripe about that 007 game is I can't say I'm overly fond about the guy that they picked to play Bond. And the reason he just looks so young, and I don't know, it's just not, to me, it's almost like they're trying to go with the Tom Holland vibe. I don't know how you guys feel about the new James Bond. I mean, the game looks amazing. Now, if it plays as good as it looks, I think it's going to be awesome. You missed the old 007 Night Fire and Everything or Nothing. I'm with you on that, Wicked Hot. I am with you. Let me again add some names onto that this board so we're not missing everybody. We got Your Wicked Hot. We got Stevie Mac. Guys, you got to be following me as well on X in order to win too, because I need to have a contact information. I mean, I guess if I have you on my Xbox or something, I can get through you there. Hey, Slendy, what's going on? Brother Fred is in the house. What's happening, bro? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. It means a lot to see a lot of fantastic people in the house this morning. A lot of old friends and colleagues and gamers and stuff like that. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think I've caught up with everybody right now. So perfect. All right, yeah, it's good to see Fred. Maybe Frank will be along here momentarily as well. Let's get rid of that last screen here as we move along this. Oh, we got him in the background. Let's see this, guys. Here we go. Let me just knock out this screen over here. Here he is, guys. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend. Yes, live from Germany, Jez Corden from Windows Central. Good. I guess it's probably in the nighttime where you're at, Jez.
No, it's 4 p.m. here, but for me, it's morning. Right. I set my alarm for. I'm so sorry I'm late, man. I set my alarm for 4 o'clock, thinking that we were starting at 5.
Yeah.
Because I converted it to UK time zone, and then it's like it was the German time zone. I don't know. Basically, time zone foul. I'm so sorry I'm late, but
it's all good, brother. Honestly, the time zones get everybody. It's really, I mean, when you're a couple hours out, everybody kind of knows the Eastern, but I never get the European stuff right myself half the time. And I know, like, with we have so many methods now with cell phones and internet to get that right. But anyway, my friend, I am so glad you're here. It is awesome to have you. Welcome to my new podcast. It is good to be back in the fold. This just to kind of give you a rundown, it's Noof Nukem, but it's a more, I guess, tamed Noof Nukem than people are used to. I just want to talk about positivity. I want to talk about the great things that the industry is doing. There's enough podcasts out there that focus on a lot of the negativity, but in the grand scheme of things, I think this year is proof. Despite the layoffs and all of the stuff that we hate to talk about, there is a lot of games coming. As a matter of fact, it's one of the weirdest problems to ever have is that we're getting so many games, so many gluts of games. And when you're a multi-console owner, multi-platform owner, and you got PC and you got the consoles and stuff, it's absolutely even insaner. Like, it just, the backlogs, like, where do you find the time, right? And for yourself, I mean, you must be busy between writing the articles and trying to squeeze in the game time. I mean, I don't know how you do it, my friend. So, but anyway, for those who aren't acquainted with you, obviously, claim to fame is Windows Central. You're also part of a very big Xbox-centric podcast with the one, the only man with the million rand L4. That is the Xbox 2 podcast, which you guys do on Fridays. And the crazy part of that, you guys kind of go early on that one. I keep missing you most of the time live because I'm usually at work when you guys hit. So, but it's a fantastic show. You always have some great banter. And of course, you have an inside track a lot of times on what's happening through the industry. A lot of us guys we just feed off what kind of the stuff that you give us. Some guys will, narrate you correctly. And some of us, definitely not me, but some people like to, take stuff that you write or put out there and they kind of run with it and they try to make their own spin or their own articles. This is unfortunate, but that's how people go. There's a lot of clout chasers out there right now. I'm not here to chase any clout. I'm just here, like I said, I want to talk about gaming positivity. I want to get up on a Sunday morning, get this rolling. So again, welcome to the podcast. That's it in a nutshell. The chat is pretty excited to have you today. So what have you been up to, man? What games have been kind of consuming you lately? I see Avowed, as I just said, is finally coming to the PlayStation. I thought that was a great little game last year. I was actually impressed with it. I thought the combat and the graphics looked amazing. But what have you been up to? What games have been keeping you busy?
Did you say Avowed?
Avowed, yeah.
I couldn't get into Avowed, man. Like, I've tried like 3 or 4 times to get into it, and it's just like I feel like the first hour or so is like really slow or something.
Yeah, a bit of a slow grind. I just getting off that first section.
And like the characters that you meet in the first section are really irritating. So I just, for whatever reason, I just couldn't push through that initial that initial hurdle with the game. And I think it's one of the issues with the industry today is that just there's so much content that if something doesn't grab people instantly, like it's just easy to bounce off and go and play something else because there's just so much to do. I
Absolutely.
know you said you wanted to keep it positive, so let's.
No. I mean,
But,
well, it's. I mean, you got to talk about what it is. I mean, you still got to face the facts. I mean, Highguard is going through a bit of this right now, where they're finding out that, and it's
yeah,
unfortunate. I mean, I haven't played it, so I don't like to talk about stuff I haven't played. Like, I can give you my take if it's a game for me or a game that I think I'd rather avoid. But I do feel I'm very unfortunate for those guys that it seems like they've got the foundation for something there, but it's not jiving. And I don't necessarily think a lot of these games is because they're necessarily bad. We've seen a lot of these live service games go this route, but I think it's because it's a crowded space. And I think that you got to really do something extremely special, or you got to have somebody to spread the word for you, I guess. Like there's got to be like enough vibe around something. And the fact that Highguard sort of, you heard about it and then it disappeared and it kind of almost practically shadow drops, just falls out there. It's like, I don't know. I think they did their own disservices on that one.
yeah, to some degree. It's but this is it. There's just so much to play that something has to either be like, but even being free isn't enough. Like High Guard was free, right? So
Yeah, it's a
I've
free to
been
play.
talking. Yeah, I've been talking to like people I know in the industry about this, and there is this kind of concept where like um things have to either be super cheap or they have to
Mm-hmm.
be just mind-blowingly good, especially if you're trying to
Yeah.
charge full price. And I think Avowed and the Outer Worlds 2 were both full price, and I would argue neither were at least for most people, mind-blowingly good. So I think like both of those sort of fell into this sort of category. But I mean, Jason Schreier at Bloomberg put out an article the other day that was like games have to be cheaper.
Mm.
He posted an article about this, and he said he was at Dice, and go read the article. It's a good article, but like he said he was at Dice, and there was a lot of like industry people back and forthing about why Claire Obscure was so popular, and one of the things that landed on it was $50, but also really really good. So
Right.
but I nowhere in that article does he mention Game Pass, which I think is a bit weird to be honest, because Game Pass is supposed to be like the way that games like Avowed or the Outer Worlds, like the lower budget kind of double A kind of
Mhm.
games, maybe those games can exist in that for that audience, because that is almost like developing up as a separate audience for it. As for what like I've been playing, I'm part of the problem. I've been playing Overwatch.
Yeah.
I've been playing Overwatch.
Okay.
Okay. Free play.
But like
Um,
it's interesting you mentioned Game Pass because to me, like, and that's sort of the thing I've always thought with Game Pass. Like Game Pass is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong; it's the best. There's no hands, there's no debating it. It's the best value in gaming. Even at the price jump, it's still fantastic value for people that. But that in itself becomes part of the problem because it's like going to those buffet menus. When you go to the buffet and you can only eat so much, and you only got so much time to eat things and you sit there, and that's in itself becomes a problem where there's just so many great games, and then you got to remember a lot of people still struggle with backlogs. So you get in the Game Pass, you got old games, you got new games, you got indie games, they got your AAA's. I mean, if you're on the top tier, like it's like the buffet. So in itself, it's one of the biggest sellers. It's also one of the things that kind of kicks it in the between the legs at the same time, right?
well, no, it's
Just
completely true. Like I don't think I would pay for Game Pass at $30 a month. Like I get it through my phone operator right now at
yeah,
the old price. Now I don't know how long Microsoft will keep that deal in place,
right.
but right now I get it at the old price before the last two price increases. So like I'm like, yeah, I'll add that to my phone plan, right? But you can't. Most people can't do that. Amazon is still selling the one month cards for the old price, and I don't
Mm,
know if that's just because they've got like thousands of cards with the old price printed on it, and they want to sell through that stock or something. But they are still selling the old cards for the old price on Amazon even now, if you go and look. But how long is that going to last for? And
right.
I do wonder, like, because right now people have expiring subscriptions and things like that. Like, would I still pay $30 a month for Game
Sure.
Pass, considering what my backlog looks like, considering that a lot of games are free to play, considering I already subscribe to World of Warcraft, do I want to be subscribing to World of Warcraft and Game Pass?
Right.
You know, World of Warcraft's like $10 a month or whatever, and yeah, it's $10 a month's nothing, but all these subscription services add up, man. Like
They certainly
Disney Plus, Netflix, and stuff like that.
do.
Like, it's
Well, that's the
it's
conundrum
kinda
I have, and
crazy.
I said this to my friends. I said, I mean, I'm a generally a console player, so I've got the Switch 2, I got my Series X, I got my PlayStation 5, and it's like, I do play a fair bit of multiplayer games, and essentially with Xbox, it's always been for me that was always a given. Most of my friends are on Xbox. I've always played multiplayer on Xbox, but like now I'm in face of the conundrum. Like I'm on the essential tiers. I don't care for PlayStation. What is it? Their top tier. I don't even care for the Game Pass top tier. I just have the essential. I just keep it to basically play online. If they got rid of that whole paywall to begin with, then I wouldn't have any of the tiers that they have. But that's not likely to happen. But like that's a conundrum I'm at. Like I'm paying $25 a year for Nintendo, which is cheap, but they give you next to nothing, right? Outside of playing old NES games and Super Nintendo games as part of the perk. And then like I said, and then I got to pay about $120 for the Xbox and $120 for PlayStation, and you're flicking back and forth, and that again, it's the same thing, same conundrum. Like it starts to add up, and you're paying all these for service, and you got your Netflix, and you got your Amazon, you got your Hulu's, and you got all these things all roll into one, and all of a sudden you're man, like you're trying to save a little money for the next big game that's coming out, and you start realizing you're just spending a fortune. Right. So I'm at the point like, which console do I gravitate to? And it's a hard question. Right. And I still like the Xbox largely because, again, my friends are there. I've got so much money invested in Xbox. And that's a great point because that is going to lead us to one of my articles or one of my topics later on in the show. But yeah, it's just a crazy time right now. Like, and it's just money going out left, right, and center. And we're in a world right now where money is getting tighter and tighter. Everything is going up. Like just trying to eat out nowadays is like insane,
Yeah, it is. It is. Like I feel like every time I step outside the house, just $50 just disappears. Like where did it go? Just even vending machines and things like that cost so much money. And I think that's one of the things Microsoft's done wrong more recently is like they forgot that gaming is a discretionary hobby.
Yes.
It's not like it's not like a utility or an addiction or whatever. There's so many other options out there, and I really think I blame Satya Nadella for this. I think Satya Nadella he applied the OneDrive logic or the Microsoft 365 or the enterprise logic, because in Microsoft 365 it's like, once you've gotten a company to use Microsoft services and their servers and their cloud and Office, and you've built your company enterprise around it, it's so hard to leave that environment. Once it's got its claws in, once Azure's got its claws into your business, it's so hard to leave. And I kind of feel like they've tried to apply that kind of logic to Xbox. And like you said, you've got so much money invested in Xbox, right? But there is a point where you can just sort of stop using that and it will still be there. It's not like Office 365 where if you stop using it and you want to go to Google Apps or some other cloud provider, you have to rip your business apart to do it. But on gaming, you can just be like, well, I'm going to stop buying games there and just start buying games here instead. So I think like what we're seeing right now is that play out where like Satya's vision for Xbox plays out, and then they're going to be like, hey, look, you were wrong. We got to do something different, So maybe. But anyways, I digress. It's price is an issue for everything. And,
price
and
is
I think
like for everybody.
Yeah. On the issue of price though, like as someone who I play on PC a lot, and I always have, and part of that's because of Blizzard, Battle.net and growing up playing Blizzard games and things like that. They're all PC oriented, right? So I do like the fact that on Xbox you get 2 copies of a lot of games. You get the PC copy and you get the console copy, So that's added value for me as someone who plays frequently on PC. And I like to have my Xbox hooked up to the TV because today, at least, hooking up a Windows PC to a TV, something you can do, but it's not
Yeah.
it's not pleasant. Like, you have to whip out a
Yeah.
mouse and keyboard. You're sitting at the sofa, or you're trying to relax or do whatever, and then you've got to start mousing around and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I know, like, I could get a PC, a gaming PC, and not lock it down, and and there are ways you can do it, or I could just like hook up an Xbox, which is cheaper than a PC and so much easier if you just
Indeed.
want to do some fun, instant gratification kind of gaming. So, like, for me, like, Xbox and PC is the best of. It's just the way I've habitually evolved to
Yeah.
play games, and Xbox bridging that gap is what makes the platform exciting for me. But I also realize, like, that is a niche within a niche. Like, most people
Yeah.
either go all in on PC or go all in on console, and they don't want to live between those two worlds. So I kind of feel like, in some ways, Microsoft's trying to hammer a nail in with a sledgehammer or something. Like, they're taking a sledgehammer to a simple problem, and
Yeah, I
I
think
don't know.
they've definitely overcomplicated things, but I'm with you 100%. When it comes to the Xbox Play Anywhere, that's a fantastic feature. And I like the fact that, some things you can't control. A lot of these games are costing a major amount of money, but, the added value and having multiple devices to take your games is definitely something that is very, very welcome, especially when more people seem to be picking up and adopting the handheld sort of things with the Asus ROG Ally X and a variety of other features like that. So no, good on them for that. But and I guess Game Pass, like I said as well, it is the way you look at value in Game Pass is different for everybody. And I'm one of those weird types in a sense, because I can enjoy all of Microsoft's biggest and best games coming out this year. They got 4 big bangers that we know of right off the hop. We know we got you got the Fable, we got that Halo remake. We've got Forza Horizon 6 coming out, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And then potentially, and I would imagine unless something happens or slips, that we should see Gears Judgment, E-Day coming out this year. So 4 huge games that here in Canada, I would pay an easy $90 for. And that's the crazy thing. I'm still going to pay $90 for those games because I like to have them either digitally or physically. I hope that they're still going to put them on some sort of a disc. I can't see why they wouldn't, not for those games, especially if you're going to put them on the PlayStation in a disc format. But I will, like, that's me. I'll go out and buy them. So you add that up, that's 4 times 90, right? That's what, $360 right there, Canadian, before tax. Yeah. So, that's probably well more than my Game Pass subscription for the year. And I totally get that. But again, I'm just one of those odd fans that I still cling to sort of some semblance of the old guard. It's not that, but that's the thing for me. It never really was about the money, because if Game Pass never existed, we'd all still be going about our business like we always have. You want a game, you go buy the game. You figure out how to buy it, whether you got to take your cans and bottles down to the depot, or you got to go sell yourself on the street corner, or start an OnlyFans, or whatever it be the case, man. Like, you're going to get that game if you really want it. Now, and that's the thing, right? I guess when money is tight, you become more of you pick and choose a little bit more. You look at things a little differently. Like, generally each year I try to nail down my must-haves to under 6, and everything other than, say, the top 6 games is kind of like, I'll get it, but I just don't know when, or I'll pick it up on sale. So that's kind of still where I'm at. Really, things haven't changed. And that's just the way I go. And I like to know that if I'm not tied to a subscription, the game is still on my hard drive and I can access it. It's even right now, if I get rid of my PlayStation Plus, I've got so many games that I download every month from that service that are phenomenal value. But again, if I stop subscribing, I can't play it, period. And I hate being tied behind paywalls for anything personally. Like, I know there's no sense of real ownership. We get that. We all know everything now is a license and stuff like that. But I still like to have that sort of access when needed without being forced to pay a subscription fee. That's bottom line. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
We got PMS Jordan in the chat. What's going on, PMS? Good to see you. It's been a long time. Hope you're enjoying this new podcast with fantastic guests this morning, Jez. So, Jez, we'll just shift gears a little bit here. I don't want to take up too much of your time today, and I try to keep this show on pretty much on a 60-minute runtime if possible. But Let's just talk about again gaming, and that's why we're here. Big games mentioned at the top of the show. This year itself, I think, is shaping up to be quite possibly one of the biggest I can ever remember. With them, even like that PlayStation State of Play the other day, which was phenomenal. Some people may disagree with me, but for me, I thought it was phenomenal because I seen so many games that I liked. There was new stuff there, there was old stuff there. We're getting, of course, the remakes, the remastered stuff. But it was awesome. And technically, again, now these shows are kind of like multi-plat shows because most of these games are coming out everywhere. And there's a lot of stuff that we saw in that showcase that will be on the Xbox platform. I know a lot of people follow me and certainly follow you, are big fans of the Xbox platform. But like, yeah, what is your big anticipated games for this year if you had to narrow down the list? Because the four aforementioned ones that from Xbox alone, that's just the Xbox side of things. Not to mention for me, I got Wolverine, PlayStation, which I can't wait for. That Tomb Raider, that new Tomb Raider, the remake that's coming out, that looks absolutely dynamite. So those are a couple. Like I said, this is a stacked year for me. I'm not going to find enough time to play. I'm going to have to quit my job or something because you won't be able to afford anything. But how about yourself, Ben? What's the games that really have you excited for this year? How is it shaping up? I mean, we got to assume or we got to hope that most of these games will hit the launch stage because that's a big problem we've seen in the industry a lot too. Stuff slips, and this is also the year of GTA 6, and that is where that's where it gets tricky going into the fall. GTA 6. I mean, if it launches on time, they have restated that it will. Last I heard. So if that launches on time, that is going to throw a big conundrum into everybody's plans, I think, for the year. Because that game's right out the bat. I mean, I think that first week alone, that game is 10 million copies deep, if not more.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, there's so much stuff to look forward to, and I've definitely sort of in the kind of sitting here thinking like, how am I going to get through all this stuff? And a lot of the service games I play have gotten really good updates as well recently. Like World of Warcraft Midnight's coming out in 2 weeks. I'm really excited about that. I'm playing a lot of Overwatch recently, which kind of just had a relaunch. So but that kind of came out of nowhere, right? But as for new games, like in the short term, like Resident Evil Requiem, something I'm really, really excited to play.
Yes.
I can't wait to see, it's kind of like they're acting like this is sort of Leon's swan song, kind of. So I'm intrigued to see what that looks like. Also Pragmata, like the demo for that came out recently. Pragmata being the another Capcom game that looks like it's going to be pretty damn good. And then Capcom's just having a great year this year, come to think of it. We've also got Onimusha coming out this year, I think. That I played that at Gamescom. Absolutely phenomenal. That game is going to be really special, I think.
I keep forgetting about that one. That does look really, really good.
Yeah, like
Capcom's killing it right now. Damn.
They're killing it, yeah. And they got Monster Hunter Stories 3 coming out as well, which, I previewed and fantastic. You don't even need to review. If you like JRPGs, go and buy Monster Hunter Stories right now. Yeah. And then also, what else? Monster Hunter Wilds is going to get an expansion this summer, and Monster Hunter Wilds was a game that I was like a bit disappointed in. It wasn't as they took a lot of the challenge out of the game, which kind of broke the game in a way. Because the whole point of Monster Hunter was that you grind the gear to overcome the threats, but if they make it so easy you don't need to grind the gear, kind of reduces the whole point of hunting anything, So I'm hoping that the G rank expansion will fix that game. But yeah, I mean, on the Microsoft side, I'm really intrigued to see if Fable lands, I suppose. I'm usually not big on comedy games. It's usually like comedy games just they don't land for me a lot of the time. But this is like a British humor game, so maybe it will. So I'm intrigued to see if that lands. And then we've also got Gears of War E-Day. We don't really know a lot about that, but a lot of the things about Gears of War over the years is that Gears 1 feels like Gears 2, feels like Gears 3, feels like Gears 4, feels like Gears 5, right? Because they all use the same animations. They all use the same underlying tech and all that kind of stuff. But Gears E-Day, what I've been told, has been rebuilt completely from the ground up. no reused assets, no reused animations,
Which would
anything like
explain why
that.
it's taking
So
a lot longer.
yeah, maybe. So
Well, look how
I'm
fast they
kind
put
of
out that
like,
High Busters. That DLC was
yeah, it
absolutely
was crazy.
phenomenal, man. And that game, God, it looks like it doesn't get enough credit, man. That
Yeah, it
last
was really,
Gears
really
game,
cool.
Gears 5, and that content was fantastic, dude. It's great. It'll be interesting
Yeah,
to see because I remember the cliffhanger at the end of 5, and you had that choice to pick. So
yeah.
well, of course, we guess we won't see that for a while. We had to wait for Gears 7.
Oh god, yeah. I
Right?
mean,
Yeah, because it's a
Rand's of the
prequel.
opinion that yeah, Rand's of the opinion that we'll never see a sequel to Gears 7.
Yeah,
He
you
thinks
might be
that
right.
if Gears, he thinks if Gears E-Day does well, then we'll get an E-Day 2 and an E-Day 3 instead.
Right.
But we'll see about that. But yeah, there's so much stuff, and there's so much stuff that I'm probably forgetting. Like there's indie games I want to play, all stuff from third parties of all shapes and sizes. There's just tons and tons of stuff to
Oh
play, and
man.
it's
Well,
it's
we
a
just
it's a
had
it's a good for us. It's a good problem to have, but for the
it's a
industry,
great
it's like
problem.
yeah. But for the
Yeah,
industry, they're
where do
like,
you release?
how do
What
we
price
where
do
do
you
we fit
release
into
at?
this?
Like I think everybody has to adjust their targets because some games are slow burn, some games come out and hit really hard and then kind of die off quickly. But a lot of crazy stuff. Did you even see that new trailer, Black Myth? What the hell is it called? The new Black Myth game, Who You or something like that?
Yeah, the
It
new
was
Black Myth. I haven't
it was
played the original.
bizarre. I haven't even played Wukong. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't played Wukong either yet.
I'm
But
terrified of playing it because for me, if anybody knows me, I don't like Dark Souls style games. If they're going to be crushingly difficult, you might as well just toss it in the garbage bin for me. I can't do that. I don't have the patience for those games anymore. Like I can play a boss for like 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes, if you're still wiping the floor with me, I'm like, yeah, that game will be in my backlog for eternity, or it gets traded in, which is one thing I still like about a physical presence of a game because I still the new phenomics, I still trade stuff in when I'm tired of it. I got some value I can get back for now, as long as
yeah,
GameStops exist.
I feel you.
Right.
I feel you.
Then
I
that
mean, it's
chicken
gonna
game that
be
just showed up, that was crazy. What the hell was that one called?
the crafting game.
Windless or something with the giant chicken?
Project Windless. Yeah,
Project
Project
Windless.
Windless.
That was
Yeah,
bizarre.
that looked amazing.
It did look
So
amazing.
God knows when we'll see that, because that trailer was AI, I
Yeah.
think, or something like that. So
Yeah.
could be a
Yeah, that
while
does
until
look
we see
really
that.
good, but that's a bizarre choice for like a character. It's like, man, they are getting creative now. Like that could either make that game great or it could kill it. People are like, I don't want to play as a giant chicken.
Yeah.
As PMS says in the chat, the chicken
Mhm.
chasers return. Yeah, well now the chicken is apparently chasing the other people. That's the difference. A lot of people with Fable and Wolverine, and I'm super excited about Fable. I don't know if you can tell me, have you had the chance to even see Fable? I mean, obviously there's just non-disclosures and stuff, but have you had a chance to
No,
even dabble with anything at all?
nope. I haven't.
No.
I haven't seen. I mean, I saw. On the Xbox 2. I talked about like some of the things that I saw behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
and but they ended up showing that off in the recent trailer. So like the giant Brewster and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it beyond that though. Obviously I'm intrigued to play more, but I don't know if any press has been invited to play it yet. I think like there's been some interviews and things like that, but not like an
Yeah.
actual press event. So
Well,
I'm in
we
the
all know
dark,
how
man.
that goes. We all know how that goes, right? That you know, anything comes out too early, and there's that one hint that it's not shaping up this way or that way, and people run with it. And yeah, here we go. So I don't envy developers. I don't, because again, it's a tough. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You put out stuff too early, and people sit there for a month making podcasts, tearing it apart, and analyzing every frame. And then if you don't put it out, you put out at the last minute. Oh, you guys are afraid to show it. This game must be bad. I mean, it's like there's a side of the community just wants everything to just constantly fail, and I'm of the opposite mind. I want things to succeed. Now, if there is one platform that I kind of wish would die off to a certain degree, it's the free to play stuff. And the only reason I say that is just because they have convoluted the industry And I don't think a lot of the hardcore people, I mean, the people that are in my gaming circle don't really care for free to play games. For me personally, the regular games that I buy are enough time suck as it is. So I don't have the time to be sitting there and overpaying for skins and stuff, because it takes you 550 hours to get enough levels to earn something, or you got to do 5 billion challenges to earn something. Like, I am not that kind of gamer. It's great if you're a 10-year-old kid like the Fortnite crowd that sit there all day and they're just excited about the latest skin and the latest pink weapon. I mean, to each their own, but that's the one service is like, man, I wish that stuff would kind of just piss off, Outside of that, but again, if you some games, we know if they don't go free to play, they're not going to get any traction, because that's how they get in. That's how they break the barriers down. They break the door down, So I get it. I get why they're there, but just not really something that the last one I actually did enjoy was that first Descendant, and because it almost reminded me of Anthem in a way. Anthem mixed with a few other different games, and of course, the character designs are pretty wild. But yeah, what a crazy year it is for game. But like, some Fable's up there. I'm hoping the Demon Doors return. Wouldn't be a Fable game without some Demon Doors. I like those. Which I haven't seen anything through the trailers, but I thought that was interesting how the giant guy was there. And apparently once he gets slain or something, his body will sit there for like the rest of the game, just decomposing or something.
Yeah, and it affects the house prices as well, and the local.
Yeah,
like some of those simulation game kind of elements, which Peter Molyneux brought across from his God game era, like Black and White and things like that. They seem to have kept some of those traditions in, so it'd be interesting to see how some of that stuff lands.
Indeed. I think it's self-explanatory. Forza Horizon 6 is going to just blow the doors off of things, and they're obviously going to Japan, which is a fantastic environment. Obviously, I'm sure there'll be a lot of that game probably dedicated to sort of the drift and the car culture that is quite big there. Like I said, I can't wait to see the talents on display for Fable. Like, it's for a company that's been entrenched for the last over a decade, in car games and racing. But it's evident that you look at the environments of Fable that, these guys are definitely masters of fantastic looking environments and great textures and solid games that run good. Even Forza 6 or for the previous Forza games, when they, even at 30 frames, those games are just solid. They rarely have major hiccups, which is impressive for the amount of stuff that they shove down your face at those speeds and everything. It's pretty cool. So yeah, the Demon Doors are very funny, says PMS Jordan. Man, what a year. And then you got a lot of these developers, like the people behind Stellar Blade. They're ramping up obviously for Stellar Blade 2. That game was a massive success. Xbox is likely to get a copy from the sounds of things, which is great, because the more people that get to play those games, the better. Even if you play them for your own perverted desires, hey, whatever makes you buy a game makes you buy a game, I guess, right?
I've been playing one game I've been putting in my backlog at the moment is Code Vein, which it's a Souls-like.
Yes, I have that.
It's a Souls-like, but it's like,
Is that the new one or the original one?
The original one I'm playing.
Original? Yeah.
Yeah, so old game. I don't know why because Code Vein 2 came out, right? So I was I should play Code Vein 1 first. And but it is like Stellar Blade, it's anime girls, but Souls-like anime girls. But it's really good actually. I've really enjoyed it. It's probably somehow became my favorite Souls-like that isn't like Souls-like, not Soulsborne game. It's not. It's my favorite Souls-like that not from Software, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Ninja Gaiden games are hard in themselves, but I don't know. I find Ninja Gaiden, just the combat and the fluid controls are just totally different, because most of the Souls-ish games, which we want to call them that, I find they're all like, it's all about counters, constantly about counters, and constantly about like, a lot of these have stamina meters. And as soon as I see a stamina meter in a game, I'm just like, what is this, a simulation? Because, I mean, I have stamina, I have enough stamina to eat a bowl of French fries, like it drives me nuts. Swing the sword twice, and your dude's like, I'm tired. I gotta step back for a minute. So I think that's part of the reason what kind of kills, because I'm a very aggressive player. So games that award aggressiveness are more my style as opposed to sit back, parry, look at the patterns, and keep going. And then you're kicking the crap out of a boss, and like basically, and he finally hits you with 1 or 2 hits, and you're like dead. You're like, oh, right? Yeah, I was just beating him down. I had him down to like 20% life. He finally hits me for the first time. I was like, you're dead. Game over. You're like, oh my god, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
What a great year.
Like that, yeah.
Are you excited? I mean, obviously, like games like Wolverine. There's always that Saros one that's getting a lot of attention. Obviously, coming from House Mark. I personally don't care for that one either. I know watched enough people play the original Returnal, and I was like, yeah, that's a PlayStation game I'm not going back to. That sort of thing. And then Konami's coming back this year in a big way. Like Konami is, they've been kind of quiet for a while, but for a lot of us growing up, Konami and Capcom are big parts of our childhood. So.
Yeah, true that. I mean, I don't have a PlayStation, so like some of these games I just won't have access to in the near term. But they all come to PC now, so I can just wait a little bit if I really want to play them. I do own Returnal, but this is the other weird thing about this whole thing is like I bought Returnal on PC and I just ended up not playing it, so it's just sitting there in the backlog. Because like I say, there's just so much to play right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Marvel guy, so I'm not really that bothered about Wolverine and that kind of stuff. But I do want to eventually play the God of War remake stuff.
Yeah.
Or remaster.
You think it's getting censored? You think they're going to censor it? You think they're going to censor the God of War trilogy?
Like the sex
Everybody's
stuff.
wondering about that. Yeah. Which
I imagine
it's a rated M game.
Will.
Why would you need to? They're not Nintendo.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Sony doesn't really do that kind of thing much anymore. So, I mean, maybe they'll censor it, but it'll be so controversial if they do. That maybe they're just like, maybe we should just avoid censoring this shit. I don't know.
They'd be better off if they start the game and they give people that option. Do you wish the nudity, violence, blah, blah, blah? Give them that yes or the no, check it off kind of thing. Because the game, again, it's going to be rated M. There's no question about that. And the violence and the language and stuff. So, to re-alter like a classic, even though, again, I know it's a silly part of the game. They're quick time events and stuff like that. And they really don't mean much to the game. But I just think, like, you got to leave art as art. We've seen how creators do this in the past. They go back because of public pressure or, but again, if you're putting it for M and then you're worried about some kid who's 12 years old playing it, like, you're missing the point. Like, that's the whole point of ratings. It's up to the parents to monitor that stuff. Nude Nukem, yeah. That'll be my new name going forward. Nude Nukem, yeah. Yeah.
I completely agree. It'd be so dumb to censor, and it's not like there isn't tons of games like that on PlayStation anyway. Like, Cyberpunk's full of nudity, and Kingdom Come Deliverance is full of nudity, and like, why bother? I mean, part of it might be that they, I don't know, they don't have developers who can do things like that now. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. That's the funny thing with this trilogy is going to be interesting because the PlayStation 3 had God of War 3, and that game looked phenomenal. Even to this day, if you go play the remaster, it still looks amazing. That was one of those games I think was sort of ahead of its time and still holds up and looks well today. The first two are going to be the interesting ones because they were made on the PS2, and the technology was totally different. I mean, you look at the level design and the textures. I mean, those two games are definitely the ones crying most for the remake, I think. Maybe even the PSP stuff at some point maybe gets some treatment on there as well. But those are the games I'm interested in to see how they retackle the first couple games. And hopefully they keep it the same, but they just modernize it. They give it that modern look. I don't really want to see them like turn it into the new God of War, where they kind of go from that behind the camera kind of back view, and which I don't think they will. I think they'll try to keep it faithful, much like Capcom did with the Resident Evil games. That's what I think they'll be going for. Everything is structurally sound, but we hope so. But it'd be interesting. That game is probably a ways out, probably like a late next year game. Depends on how far they bit into it. We just heard the announcement, so maybe they've already been fairly far along, or maybe it's just kind of getting going. So yeah. So just narrowing it down. What's your top 3 to top 5? what games are just a must-have on Jez Cordon's playlist this year?
I think Onimusha's really up there.
Okay.
I won't say Resident Evil because it's just about to come out, right?
Yeah.
I think Fable is one I'm probably most intrigued about. And then World of Warcraft Midnight. I'm sorry. I gotta say it, man. I mean,
You're still rocking
coming
that
out
World
pretty
of Warcraft,
soon, but like,
yeah.
man, I just can't quit this game. It's just they've added player housing now, and it's just so much to do. It's just amazing.
Yeah, my nephew be
I'll
he's
probably
a
play
diehard
that.
WoW guy.
I'll play that game to my grave, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, you like what you like. So, me, I'll play Gears of War games right until I'm going to my grave. But that's my favorite franchise of all time. You know, and Cliffy B, if you're listening, man, would love to get you on this podcast, man. Like, you know, make some time for me, man. Jump on. I'd love to talk to you, man. I'm a big fan of your work, and of course, the stuff that obviously created that franchise. Gears wouldn't be where it is without with you and your design team and Rod Ferguson and all those great people. So, yeah, well, and I think that's about 4. Well, is anything else, or is there any dark horse games this year? I mean, like Claire Obscure was kind of that dark horse game that came out of nowhere, and everybody was talking about it. I only played it for a couple hours. I thought it was decent. I want to go back to it and give it an honest effort. It did seem pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of the turn-based stuff, but that game wasn't too bad. I think I turned down a couple of settings to make it a little more accessible, and it was working pretty good. So,
yeah,
that Crimson Desert game right now. That Crimson Desert game, for example, everybody's kind of buzzing about that. That's been in the works for a long time, and graphically, it looks incredible. I don't know how it's going to play out, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in two minds about that game because I played that game. I played it at Gamescom last year, and I ended up not writing a preview of it because I had a lot of issues with it. The engine is real. Like a lot of people look at the trailers and like, "Oh my god, is this game real?" The engine's phenomenal. Like the draw distances they managed to deliver and stuff like that. And part of it is because they are an MMO developer, so they're very good at making engines. It's whole part and parcel of the package, right? But the MMO developer aspect of it is also a downside. I felt like the controls were just needlessly over the top complicated, and it was almost like it was designed for a mouse and keyboard, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I think the game even did start life as an MMO before they decided to pivot into making it single player. So part of me's like, it looks fantastic, but is it just going to end up feeling like an empty kind of sandbox with little context, like MMOs often do, right? Even though it's not an MMO, is it going to feel like a single player MMO? Is it actually going to be a good game? Because things that show up in trailers often aren't, you know. So, I'm just kind of putting a question mark over that for now. But yeah, I mean, I think Pragmata is going to be a bit of a sleeper hit, you know.
Yeah,
the demo's out
great.
now.
I played it on the Switch too, and it ran phenomenal. Looked really damn good too. Like I don't know what's going on, but the Switch 2 is impressing the hell out of me right now.
Yeah, Switch 2, you know, it's sort of similar in power to Steam Deck, right? I think. I've one thing that really impresses me on the Xbox Ally is how well PlayStation games run on there, like Death Stranding and Horizon Zero Dawn and like seriously, like Ghost of Tsushima as well. Like Sony really optimizes their games really well for PC.
Yeah.
So I think when they initially came across with Days Gone, there was a lot of performance issues. And I think like maybe they took that to heart or something because since then every game's been like super
well. I mean, they're at an
optimized,
advantage. They don't put their games on. They don't put their games on PC day and date kind of thing. They take they're 6 months or a year later, so they've had the time. The PlayStation 5 gamers, unfortunately, like I said, like your beta testers, right? And then of course you go through. The PC gets the best version, probably all the extra content too. So it does kind of suck in a way for people to pick it up early. Yeah, Days Gone was a phenomenal game. Deserves a sequel, by the way. But no, that's good. I mean, I'm glad that stuff is running on the. I wouldn't mind having a ROG, but like I said, man, there's only so many games and so much money I can spend, and that's where we're going to take this next part of the conversation, Jez. I think you've listed out all the games that you're pretty much excited for, or did I cut you off mid-sentence? I apologize if I did.
No, I think that's about it, man. I mean, there's probably more that I'm just misremembering or forgetting about, but I've only just woken up,
Yeah.
so I can't
Well,
remember.
that's the crazy thing about this year. Like, there's literally, the list is so big. Like, my list this year could literally run on. And most given years, I'm lucky if I can find what I call 10 must buys. But this year,
Mm.
man, that list is out there. It's like stupid. And there's games that I never even thought about. Like right now, even I wonder if I'm gonna play that Reanimal game because again, it's by Tarsier, and those little nightmares games are
Yeah.
phenomenal. And I really want to play that. The guys have been playing it on the stream, and it looks really good. And like I said, there's Crimson Desert. There's that Crimson Moon game we saw at the State of Play that looks really cool. Like, but it's co-op, and anything that has co-op modes in it for me, like automatically ups my level of I wouldn't mind trying this just for that. But this is this is where the next part of this goes. It's, I guess, our second topic of the day. And this is going to be up to interpretation here. And I'm sure you've been thinking about it for a while, and perhaps you and Rand have certainly talked about this. But I'm kind of want to know now. Jez, it doesn't take a genius to know. Like, I'm a hardcore Xbox guy. I consider myself to be a diehard. Was there from kind of the day one. Had every console that they've had, supported them, right up through, and still support them to this day, still want them to succeed. But Xbox today looks very different than the Xbox even of the 360 era, right? I'm not here to throw shade at them. I'm not here to do this, that, and something else. Like, I think Phil Spencer's a fantastic guy. He's certainly done a lot of great things to keep the brand relevant, to bring it back from what was almost a precipice of death. But, some people would say that Xbox is bigger now than it's ever been. Some people would say that it's a shell of itself. I don't know where it lands anymore. And I guess that's part of it. It's the identity thing, right? We know that they're working on hardware. That's a given fact. What we don't really know for sure, certainly I don't know, maybe you do, but there's a lot of speculation about how powerful this is going to be, the price point it's going to be. We kind of know it's definitely going to be a very Windows 11 centric style of game/computer console, which is not a bad thing. But like, how do you bring back the hardcore faithful? How do you keep them entrenched at this point? And I know that's a very hard question to ask because we're getting a lot of mixed messages from Xbox. And I guess the biggest kicker, why a lot of people are still mad. I mean, some people say exclusives are bad. Some people say they're awesome. I'm in the camp that, look, without exclusives, I think you do value your brand to a certain level. Because that's why we bought these consoles to begin. If you're a console gamer in particular, and you basically, not talking with the PC side of things, but if you're console in particular, you generally buy one or the other for the games that you like the most or are exclusive. Nintendo does it very well. Nintendo knows their audience, and they know that you will buy their stuff because they do not have their games in 40 different places, which is good or bad depending on your perspective. So, like, how do you get rid of the stigma? Right now there is a bit of a stigma around Xbox. Some people are super excited about where they're going because they are putting their games everywhere, and but how do you raise that? For me, I want to know, because for me, I've never felt so on the fence. Before, if an Xbox console was getting announced, I'm super excited and there was no brainer. I'm buying it day one. And now I'm kind of I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to invest another dime in their hardware anymore. Right?
No, I completely see where you're coming from, and I agree. Like, I've had these. I remember when the last time I was in LA and the Xbox had the showcase, and I was like, man, this is a lot of good content. It was, I can't remember if it was the last one or the one before. I think it was the one before. And I was like, I said to someone very high up at Xbox, I was like, why are we going multi-platform again? Because I agree with you. I think without exclusives, you kind of devalue the platform, right?
Even timed. Even timed exclusive. I think the big flagship games, right? They're core four, as we always call it. Those games, I think personally, should not be anywhere but on an Xbox-based platform, whether that is the Xbox console or the PC, but it should be on a platform that is largely associated with Game Pass and Xbox. And Game Pass is not on PlayStation, so that rules that out. But now when you see Halo, and that's what I told the guys, I said, when Halo finally rolls over the PlayStation, you can forget it. It's all done. It's done deal now, because that is, you think Xbox, you think Halo, you think Master Chief. So, yeah, sorry, go ahead. But
no, I'm in two minds about it, right? Because we all complained at Xbox that they couldn't reach PlayStation's quality bar. And I think part of that is like they don't have PlayStation's audience. Like you can't take the kind of risks on a AAA budget without having a AAA audience size.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by leveraging PlayStation's audience, they can grow the studios, right? At least in the near term. And part of me wonders, like I was saying out earlier, and this might be pure code, by the way, but I was kind of like, there might come a point where Phil has enough data to just be like to Satya, because this is all Satya. Like Satya said at the FTC, the FTC trials, that he hates exclusivity and he doesn't want to live in that world or whatever he said. And you know, this is Satya Nadella's strategy, right? But I think there might come a point where they're like, look, this is how much it's damaging our platform. You know, do we want to just be a publisher now, or do we want to actually have a platform? You know, like it would be a shame to sacrifice all of this and just let everything go to Steam and PlayStation, because it would be a shame.
Yeah.
It reduce competition, and then you end up in a situation where Sony can, you know, chillax a little bit and that kind of stuff.
I mean, I understand that some
on
of
the
this
flip,
stuff
but
helps
on the flip
fuel,
side of
you
that,
know, yeah,
yeah. But on the flip side of that, I think the only reason Fable got its delay was because they can be like, okay, we can offset some of this risk by putting it on PlayStation. And then now we can project so many more extra sales, and so we can project that we'll make this much more money and we can invest this much more into the game. I think that's why State of Decay has been delayed as well, because I think State of Decay is going to come to PlayStation, and that game will end up being better for it. So I do think, at least in the near term, as Xbox is like trying to figure out how to grow its studios, that it's probably going to be a good thing to get the game quality back up. I think like you revive Halo, because like Halo needs more than a AA game. It need that game needs a mountain of investment to get back to where it was, to get back to where Halo needs to be, in my view. So it's kind of a poison pill in a way, where I do think they need PlayStation's install base, just because of how badly mismanaged everything was before Phil came on, and even when Phil came on, because when they were under the Windows brand and Terry Myerson was setting their budgets, and he didn't obviously know anything about gaming. And they were in a similar situation, but on a different scale, with, you know, Amy Hood setting the budget, and she doesn't know anything about gaming. So it's why I kind of feel like them calling Phil a CEO kind of throws him under the bus, because he still has to do what Satya and Amy say, right?
totally.
It's not like he's got complete power over everything that's going on. So I don't really like them calling him the CEO. I do think Xbox without Phil wouldn't exist, and you know, I think things would be much worse without Phil, because you'd end up with someone who wouldn't push back on Satya at all. Right?
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I think in some ways, I just want to see how it plays out, because when it comes to the next Xbox, a lot of this talk about exclusivity is gonna matter a lot less when I can get the PlayStation games on the Xbox via Steam. Like, even though it's via Steam, it kind of hurts the whole argument of like, do I need a PlayStation? You know, in much the same way Xbox putting games on PC, do I need an Xbox, right? And you could flip it around. It could be like, well, do I need a PC if I've got an Xbox with Steam on it? Probably not. Right?
Yeah, and you know, Jez, at the same time too, I'm part of the problem too. Like some of us guys too are sort of part of the issue with the industry. As much as, you know, we're fans, we put our money behind stuff. Like, look, the future comes for us, whether we like it or not. We can't live in the past. Guys have told me this like many times. We saw this happen. You know, we saw it with cassette tapes. We saw it with the CDD, the vinyl. Same thing. You know, VHS, Betamax. You know, eventually DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, now digital. Like, the future comes, right? And and you have to expand your wings. Most brands want to be in more places. I liken this at the Xbox in the chat as to, I said, it's like a band. You know, a band starts off small, gets a lot of modest success, but at some point a band can no longer play a 5,000 person venue. They have to spread out. They got to play the big venues. And we certainly know that despite all the efforts and the millions of dollars that Xbox has put behind, you know, being successful in the land of the rising sun, it just has not worked. For everything they've tried, it really has not worked. So you have to try different things. Like you said, they kind of do need a PlayStation audience. And the funny part is the PlayStation audience has always really, you know, kind of took a dump
They show up
on
hard
things.
for Xbox games.
Right? Yeah, they do. They like them. Even when they were exclusive, they hated them. They were all, oh, these games are awful, and they poked fun at them. And now that they're coming over, like, man, like they're all buying them up. I mean,
love them.
Force is a massive hit over there. Fable is going to be a massive hit on PlayStation. So, like I said, I gotten to the point now, and this is kind of why this podcast exists, where I got to step aside. I got to get outside of that window, and I got to realize that life moves on, the future moves on. Xbox is not the one we know and remember, but it doesn't mean that they're gone. I mean, I'm glad they exist. I'm glad that they're still putting money behind these games, and more people can support the games that I love, then I guess at the end of the day, I have to realize I'd be all for it. So if more people, if 5 million more people buy Gears on PlayStation, and that helps me get a sequel to a game, like I can still play my games on Xbox, and I can still play it with my friends. So nothing really technically changes. The only difference is more people have access to the games that I love. And I don't want to be a gatekeeper, and I don't want to be that hypocrite kind of guy. So that's where I'm at, and I think people are realizing that, and I've realized it. I've got to grow with the industry. Microsoft is trying to make money. They're in the business to make money, but what we want as gamers are great games, and I think they're still coming, and no matter how you want to play them or how you choose to pay for them, I'm glad the options are there, and I'm just trying to be more forgiving. The constant nonsense and the banner and the bitching all the time it gets really old, and I know like a lot of guys in this community, they use it for console war nonsense. And, with getting rid of that so-said exclusivity, it does kind of bring that level down a lot. Like that volume has certainly lowered because now you can't really war it so much because it's everywhere. You can't poke fun at a game now. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of accepting of the fact. I just hope they're in good hands. I just want to see great games come. The biggest thing is I don't want studios to close, right? At the end of the day, having a great nucleus of studios is the key factor. And I want Halo to thrive, and I want Halo to come back in a big way. I want the next Halo game to be massive. I want it to be what we hope and dream that it's going to be. I hope there's a massive success for the Halo remastered game, the remake on the PlayStation as well, because I think that will send a great message that people still want this in their life. They want another Halo, and it looks like they're committed to keep going with this franchise. It might never hit Call of Duty levels of popularity. Nothing ever will, but it doesn't mean that it can't be successful, that it can't find an audience. I mean, I know a lot of people still play Infinite. I actually like Infinite a lot. The multiplayer is fantastic, despite all its troubles. So hopefully they can get that ironed out. But that's kind of where I'm at, and the future looks really bright. And again, it's just tough. Like it's just trying to keep me in sight. I guess the only thing that will keep me excited personally is you just got to bring out great games and have that infrastructure and ecosystem there. I'm going to keep my Series X, and we'll see what happens when they announce the new hardware. A large part for me is going to come down to what functionality they're going to give us, and the biggest one is going to be price point. Because I think once you start getting above, here in Canada at least, I'm going to say once you go above the $1,000 range, and that's pushing it, you're into that no man's land. Now you're borderline territory between the high-end PC stuff, right? So that's where I got to go. Do I get the Xbox itself, or do I just take the money and invest in a really high-end gaming PC? So, and either which way, Microsoft will win, right? Because they'll get you one way or the other. Right?
Well, that's just it. And that's Satya's logic there, is that what matters is access, and that's how like games like Roblox have taken over the industry. They're available everywhere. Like I was talking to a friend recently, and he's like he used to be a gamer, but then he had like 3 kids or whatever, and he's like dropped off a lot over the years, right? And he's got an 11-year-old boy, and he got him a Nintendo Switch 2 for Christmas, right? Because Nintendo Switch, the hotness, you got to have the new hotness for Christmas for the kids. But he says the Nintendo Switch 2 is gathering dust in the drawer, and all he wants to do is play Roblox on his phone. That's all he wants to play is Roblox.
And that's what the industry is fighting against, or going with, or fighting with, however you want to look at it. But yeah, and that's the thing. The industry's changed, and the current generation of gamers that are coming up, that's the crazy part. We grew up on Nintendo and Genesis and Super Nintendo, and this generation are growing with cell phone games.
They I saw I can't remember if it was I think it was an article in Automation Media, I think it was called, the website, and the headline was gamers are discussing whether or not kids these days aren't getting into Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy because the dev cycles are too long, and by the time the games come out, they're not kids anymore. They've grown up,
True.
you know.
Yeah.
Whereas like Roblox is constantly there, constantly getting new games, and because the games are, you know, um, shall we say, of a lower quality ebb, shall we say? Um,
Mhm.
but that means that they're rapid fire and they come out really quickly and they go viral. They live and die in a viral kind of way, like the games used to when we were kids, right? Um, and I think that's part of the aspect too. Like there are kids who have never experienced Grand Theft Auto because there just hasn't been one that came out
Yeah.
in their
Yeah.
entire childhood. And I know kids aren't supposed to play GTA, but we all did. We all
Yeah, and it's
did.
so funny.
A
It's
big
so funny, because here we are. Me, I'm pushing almost 50, and we're seeing all these franchises kind of come back and get a second shot at life. Like one of my favorite games from 2025, Shinobi Vengeance, absolutely
mm.
phenomenal game. Oh my god! But I grew up on Shinobi. It was a big reason I was a big Sega kid back in the day, and here we are. Like the nostalgia's coming. And like I'm wondering where when kids are sort of in our age, like what's the nostalgia going to be for them? And that's what we don't realize is like nostalgia for us is not going to be the same thing for them. Like a lot of them, we're going
Oh,
to be 50
dude.
years old. They're like, oh, there's a new Minecraft update.
But
Right?
I heard like an older Gen Z guy talking about Fortnite in a nostalgic way recently. That
Right?
made me feel old.
I remember
But
when it was like this and it had 3 modes.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking about. I remember when this skin came out. You know, it's like
Isn't that crazy,
damn. You
right?
know, but
Yeah, like Warcraft has been around now, what, 20 odd years?
yeah, 21 years old this
It's
year. I think
insane. They've had so many
I
expansions, I can't
got
even
into
keep
it when I was
track.
18. Yeah, it's crazy.
See, that's what I mean. Like, it means
And
something different for you than it means for anybody else, or even today's kids. I mean, are even today's kids even getting into World of Warcraft? Like,
well, this is the big argument that's going on in the Warcraft community right now is because during the interviews recently, because Warcraft's
mhm.
had like a big all of Blizzard had like showcases for Diablo, Warcraft, and Overwatch, like and Hearthstone, um, the past couple of weeks, and there's new stuff for Diablo, there's new stuff for WoW, and there's new stuff for Overwatch all popping off all at once. And one of the interviews that came out, you got like one of the lead director of the game or the franchise director of the game. She's talking about like how do we make a game that appeals to the younger audience, um and you've got like the old guard, like people our age, who are kind of like freaking out about this, and they're like, "Oh my god, they want to make it free to play, and they want
Right?
to they want to make it cute and a Disneyfication, and that's the one word that's been coming up a lot, Disneyfication of
Yeah.
WoW. It's not Warcraft anymore, it's Peacecraft and that kind of stuff. And so, but that they do have
Yeah.
to think about these things because people age out. Like my friend, he's
Yeah.
got 3 kids now. He used to play WoW. He doesn't have time to play anymore.
Yeah.
And there's not like I don't have any kids, so and it's also my job to play games, so I kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are in a situation where they can't do that, and they have to think about Gen Z. They have to because Gen Z, like they're
Yeah.
the older
Yeah.
Gen Z kids are
Oh,
like in their
yeah.
20s now, and they're getting purchasing power and they're getting jobs, or well, some of them are.
Yeah. And when you
And
are our age and you got
what do you
families, when
what?
you are our age and you got families, like that disposable income when you're in your 20s that you probably would buy in your latest games, that disposable income now has to go to feeding your family, or then you're worried about what game your kid is asking you for as opposed to what you want. It's about what your kid wants. Well,
Exactly.
dad, I want, yeah. So like, I think we sit here sometimes with the horse blinders on, and we just don't think that things really change, and they change faster than we think. And again, long development cycles, like you said, definitely play a part in it because the movie industry is a perfect example. Like an actor can go from being at the top of the hill where they have 3 movies out within the run of like 2 years or 3 years, and they're at the top of their game. All of a sudden, they go in this dry spell, and you don't hear from them for 5 or 6 years. People are like, "Who's that?" Like the game industry, not much different. If you're not topical and you're not constantly out there, or you're not a game again. I guess that's one advantage of the live service free to play stuff is that because they constantly add content to it on a regular basis, they stay topical. They don't really age the way other games do because they're always in your face. There's always something to do, and once you're entrenched, it just keeps going. And I've always said that's the thing with Game Pass. Game Pass lends itself great to live service stuff because I always said like you get it. They should have like a company like Telltale Games that makes episodic content constantly for the service like that to keep you invested in a great product and then update it all the time, so they don't feel forced. They don't have to make a whole game within a small time frame. They could just, here's episode 1, and next season we'll have episode 2. They could literally have their own drama, their own style. And you know, another game that, and me and my friends have said this a billion times, and why Microsoft hasn't done this is beyond me. I know it would take a lot to do it, but it would pay off. I guarantee it'd pay off for them. Bring back a game like 1 versus 100 on Game Pass, exclusive to Game Pass. There's your exclusivity thing. That shit would sell. I'm telling you. We all remember that. And I have people to this day say, man, if you brought back 1 versus 100 and you had prizes and you had that engagement, that would keep people enrolled on Game Pass. I guarantee you they would subscribe. That would be worth it, the subscription alone. Just playing with your friends and doing the trivias. And it's such a casual game. It's good for the old crowd and it's good for everybody. It's like, I don't know how they're even missing that boat right now. Like, I'd be on top of that. That would be like, let's do it. Do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Perfect game. Well, you got to have the top tier Game Pass to play 1 versus 100. I guarantee you, I would be tempted to even subscribe with that, just because that would be a perfect thing.
I never played it. I don't know if it was even available in the UK or something, but I never played it.
Your little avatars on the screen and the trivia, and the fact you could actually win like live prizes and stuff by playing this. It was like being on your own personal game show. It was so good. And then I remember even when Netflix was ahead of its time on the Xbox, and they had the whole, like, you had Netflix. Yeah, watch parties. Like, even that would be cool on Game Pass if you incorporated more of this stuff into Game Pass. Like, if you're a subscription to Game Pass, you can watch your movies with your friends, right? Stuff like that would be huge.
Tom Warren did put in his newsletter that they are looking at things they can do to expand Game Pass beyond just adding games to it. So, like, adding something like a service to it, like 1 versus 100, like, that might be the play, right? But we'll see what happens.
Totally. Yeah, I think that, like, they have to think outside of just gaming. They have to make it like this, you know, kind of a one-stop shop where, yeah, the games are a bonus, and that's the biggest reason most people are there. But then, like, when you're trying to rope in that casual person that, yeah, will play the occasional game, but again wants a little more from the service to justify the price. And I don't think it would be as big an investment as we think it is, but it was certainly, there's multiple ways around it. But yeah, like, any of these little things that make your service stand out and above anything else out there. Of course, Game Pass does stand out on its own because nobody really is doing anything like it. But it would just be those extra bonuses, quality of life features that really make you feel good about, well, I'm spending the extra $5 and that's fine, but Microsoft is giving me all of this and more, and keeps you engaged and keeps you wanting to come back. It's kind of like a great update. So, man, either which way, we're going to end up the show here. I know we're running a bit late on this. I try to keep these shows a bit shorter, but I knew this could definitely go long because I knew you'd be a fantastic guest today. The chat seems to be really enjoying the banter here. So I won't keep you any longer today, Jez. We're going to let everybody get out of it. As I said, guys, everybody that's in the chat, I've been putting you into the draw to win this little puppy right here. A lot of great games, over 20,000 games on this little machine. We're going to give this away on episode 5, so you got to tune in next week again. If you're in the chat, your name will get into the draw, and then we'll do it live on stream. So we're going to wrap up the show. I do have the links to Jez on X, and of course a link to his YouTube channel, and as well the podcast, the Xbox 2 with Randall 4. I did send a message out to Rand. He couldn't make it, unfortunately. I was going to try to get him to come in and surprise you, but he's busy this morning. But at some point, I would love to get both of you perhaps on the show, or maybe Rand at some point himself. It's been a long time, a hot minute since I spoke with Rand. So I hope you enjoyed being here today, Jez. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate what you're doing. I like the fact you're down to earth and you're honest, and you know, and you're still putting out the good vibes, man. You can't win in this community no matter how hard you try sometimes, but you know, you're one of the good guys. And for me, like, you're like the old school dude, because since I've been in this community now, it's well over 10 years. You've been a big part of that for me. You know, whether we've been bringing up the articles you've written or talking about your podcast chats, like, you know, you've been a great reference for a lot of people in the community, and I wish you much success. And biggest thing is health and success and all the good stuff, and keep the good news coming, man. Keep spreading the love, and look forward to what's coming down the pipe. And like I said, we know that usually you keep us in the loop, and we appreciate that. So if you got any final words
Appreciate
to
it,
say
man.
before you go, we got a super chat coming in, but you like to read it out. Comes in from D487. He drops $10. Great show. Thank you, Jez, for being here. We appreciate you, Jez.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it, man.
man.
All right.
Nah, I appreciate it. You know, it's tough time in media, you know, but I've always it's always been the Xbox community first for me, you know. Xbox, like I was a minimum wage guy before when I started doing this, and I'm sort of like I didn't train as a journalist, and you know, I didn't nepo baby my way into the industry like some people do, and it's it's been tough, you know. So I always try and keep it, you know, remember where I came from, and uh, Xbox community first above everything. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of how
Yeah.
I've always seen this stuff. Voice concerns to the higher ups. We got Monster Hunter stories. You know, that was important.
Bro, I mean,
You know,
I know there are more diehard Xbox than me, but I got an Xbox fridge sitting next to me. I got lights, I got clothes, like everything Xbox. I mean, I'm right there, man. Like I'm hardcore, and I guess you know, just right in. I mean, that's the hardest part. It's harder for some of us because we've been entrenched in their ecosystem for so long. We know how much we've invested, and it's not just financial. Like it's emotionally, it's you know, it's been part of our lives, right? Like, so when these changes come, they're not as easy. The casual fan probably doesn't sit there and think about this too much, but anyone who literally does podcasts and can sit here for hours talking about your favorite thing, and you kind of feel that little bit of a sense of betrayal, even though I know that's not really the intention, because again, the industry changes, but that's kind of where you're at, right? You sit there and you kind of go, you know, it feels like you know, like you got cheated on, or you know, and we shouldn't take gaming that seriously. I totally get it, but at the same time, you know, it's always been that sense of pride, and I've always prided myself and personally believing that Xbox was the best brand in the market, regardless of the sales numbers. And mostly to some degree, I still agree with that today. Like I love Xbox. I mean, I love their ecosystem. I love the controller. I have a lot of friends, a lot of gamers, so that's kind of where I'm at. But I love Xbox, man, and I know you do too. But you know, and I'm excited for the future, wherever that might take us. We just gotta be ready to get on the roller coaster and go for the ride. So, and I want to thank you as well for being here, simply because I was like, man, is Jez actually going to show up? Because I'm like, I'm sure he's probably already getting DMs from dudes going, don't go on Newt Newcomb's podcast because he's such a troll POS or something like that. Like there are literally some crazy nuts in this community, and they come gunning for you. Like the bottom line is, like I've always said, it's sad because you're always perceived as you're one way or another in this community. You can't be everything to everybody, apparently. Like even if you like, I got all the systems and I buy all the games, but they see one side and that's it. And oh, you were praising a police, he must be a pony, or you're praising it, he's an Xbox. Like you see how this crap goes.
yeah.
You know, you've seen it, and it's kind of sad that people just can't take gaming and enjoy it for what it is. And still, yes, you can have your favorite brand and your favorite franchises, but they just they get worked up over nothing. So thanks for being
it
here,
is
man.
true, you know, but I do what you said resonates with me, and I think it's something that Microsoft Phil is aware of, but the bean counters on is that
He's got
for
a
a lot of
job.
people, it's for a lot of people, it's not just about gaming. It's about identity, it's about community, it's a hobby all up. It's not just like it's not just about the games for a lot of people. I think for the in terms of like just making money, then maybe it is, but this is it's a discretionary hobby. You know, it's discretionary. And if I don't feel good about the platform I'm on, then I'll go to a platform that does make me feel good.
Yeah.
And I think Phil gets that, but Satya and the bean counters don't get that. And the spreadsheets don't back up that data. And I think that's the real issue, is that it has to when you're in a big corporation and you're making these kind of arguments about strategy, you have to be able to back up what you're saying with a spreadsheet and data. And human sentiment is not something you can put in a spreadsheet, or at least not in a genuinely holistic way. It's almost like an unspeakable kind of thing. So I don't begrudge anyone who feels betrayed by the platform. You know, I mean, there's like, you know, if you get toxic with it and you start attacking people or sending death threats and stuff, that's a completely different issue. But if you're someone who like just feels like Xbox says that I'm not their audience anymore, I'm going to move on. And that makes total and complete sense, you know, because it isn't always just about the gaming. It's about how you treated as a customer. And they did tell us there were exclusives coming, and they made a huge song and dance about it. They were like exclusive, you know. they made exclusives matter, and
Yeah,
then it didn't matter.
and
And
we know
it
that.
makes you realize that we don't matter to them, right?
And again,
So
life
I don't.
changes and things change. That's the thing. And I'm saying this, and we've also, a lot of us have said it, is the problem with Microsoft now is a lot of decisions are made more at the boardroom level than they're being made more so down the pipeline. Yeah, they hear what they're saying, but like you said, at the end of the day, the dollars, the money figures, the stocks, that's kind of what moves the needle. And you can go in and talk all you want about, oh, well, we got, 5 million Halo fans that are crying about this or about that, and they're like, well, you know what? They're not moving the needle. This is where we're going, right?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to see how it goes. At the
You can see
very
where it
least,
goes.
the
Yeah.
great games coming, and I
Amen.
think because of PlayStation's install base, the games will be a higher quality bar than they typically have been for Xbox. And that's a good thing, ultimately. It's just whether or not the strategy of the PC hybridization, whether they can bring it in at a reasonable price point, all that kind of stuff, that's the question. But we'll see what happens.
Indeed. All right. Again, Jez, thank you so much for being here, man. Enjoy the rest of your evening. To the chat, you guys are absolutely dynamite and amazing. We're going to wrap the show up right here now. And don't forget, Jez's links are in the comment description on this video. Guys, hit that like button, share it out, and let us know if you're liking the show. Hope you certainly loved our guests today. We hope to get them back in the future. And most importantly, keep it gaming, keep it real, have fun out there. And what's going on, JZE and John 907? Welcome to the show. Hope you can catch it on the replay if you missed it at the start. And just wanted to let everybody know that our guest for next week is going to be the one, the only, the man who's in the chat right now, the Game Complainers. Can't wait to have him on the show. And the following week, to end out the month, is going to be the one, the only, the middle-aged game mag. A good friend of mine, Mag, will be on the show after the Game Complainers. So we got some great people coming down the pipe, guys. And it's going to be a fun time. And don't forget, last message for show for a close. Community Game Day starts today at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to kick off with some Nintendo and Mario Party Jamboree. Always a fun game to play with your friends. And following that, we're going to jump into one of the games we chatted about, and that is Gears 5 on the Xbox. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So hopefully we'll see you guys out there for community game night. Let's get a crowd going. Let's have some fun, because that's what it's all about, is gaming and gaming with your friends. Take care. Have a great day, everybody, and we will see you on next week's show.